Good afternoon. It's Monday, March 30th, and we're going to do our math lesson 10-4, and we are finding the parts of 11, 12, and 13. So like last week, I put a bunch of magnets or counters in the middle, and then we had to figure out a way to make 10 first, and then find out what our other add-in is, and find out what the total that we had. Well, this week we're going to know the total already and figure out what the add-ins are that make up that total while still making 10. So I'm going to do the first one. Parents, I have posted this in our Google folder so that you have access where you can either print these things out. This also. All right, so you can print these things out. You can remake them on paper at home for your children, or you can just watch the lesson, go along with them, asking them questions, talking about it as we go. Hopefully you were able to gather up some of these things to use as counters here. Those are just suggestions that I've been giving. I've been using Dylan's, animal magnets as my counters. So I'm going to start with, let's do 11. Now, notice this week, too, the equal sign is on the other side. Last week we were doing, blank plus blank equals 11. Well, this week I'm switching it up on you a little. It doesn't matter which way it's written. All the equal sign means is whatever's on this side is the same as what's on this side. So sometimes you'll see problems written this way. So 11 equals, we need to figure out what our two add-ins are. So I'm telling you that we're going to start with 11. So if you're doing this at home with me, I want you to count out 11 counters, all right? So, and we're going to use our tens frames to help us. I'm reusing these tens frames every day, so I'm not drawing in them. But if I were drawing, I could make little circles in my tens frames until I got to 11. All right, so ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, so I've stopped at 11. So take a moment and think, what are my two add-ins using my tens frame? So what are these two numbers? These are my add-ins. What are they going to be to equal my sum of 11? This is my sum. And these are my add-ins. Okay. So I have 10 here. I know this because this is a tens frame. 10 plus the one counter that I have here. So 11 equals 10 plus 1. Let's try another one. Start over. Move my counters down. All right. And now I'm going to give you 12. So same thing. Let's get your counters out and count to 12, filling our tens frames up as we go. Okay. Full. There we go. All right, so here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So take a minute. I've counted to 12. Take a minute to think about what our add-ins would be here. So again, 12 is our sum. Okay. And our add-ins, I have 10 here. And I have 2 more here. Okay, so my sum is 12. 12 equals 10 plus 2. And those are my add-ins. So what I've posted on the dojo, if you want to either print it or remake this for your child, is sorry, I posted in the Google Drive. I will post pictures on the dojo too, if that's easier for you to access. So you're going to show on your tens frames. So just like we did here, kids, when you're doing this at home, you should be using your tens frames in order to count and show what your add-ins are. So not only then are we writing, the equation, but you have this visual representation here too of what your equation is. So I've given you 11, 12, and then on the back we have 13, and then I switched the equation up and put 12 at the other side. Okay, so go ahead and do that. I also created a challenge. So the challenge is that you want to create other equations that equal your sum, but you don't always have to make 10. Okay, so I'm going to do 11 with you. So here I have 11, right? So I did, like up here, I did 10 plus 1. Now, I also want to try to make another equation that equals up to 11. So what if I take one of these counters and I move it down here? I'm still going to have 11, right? I'm still going to have that sum of 11. But what does my equation look like now? Well, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's where my 9 came from. Plus 2, which also equals 11. I still have 11, okay? Let's see if I can write another equation. So why don't I take another counter and move it to the bottom tens frame? Now I have 8, right? 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, plus 1, 2, 3, which also equals 11. So as a challenge, try to use the number that's in red at the top, so in this case it would be 12, and try to write as many different equations in the box that you can that equal up to 12. And parents, if you're making this at home for your child, all I did was fold the paper into, fold it in half twice, and then made like a 4 square, and gave them space to write their equations. So feel free to reach out as always if you have any questions about the lesson today, and I'll see you in a little bit for writing.